So we have staged a couple of changes. Now, before committing what we have in the staging area, we need to review our code because we don't want to commit bad code or broken code to our repository. So as a best practice, always review what you have in the staging area before making a commit. Now, the status command only shows the files that have been affected, but how can we see the exact lines of code that we have staged? We use the diff command. So we type git diff -- staged to see what we have in the staging area that is going in the next commit. So let's take a look here. Now, quite frankly, comparing files using the terminal window is not really the best way to do this. Quite often we use visual tools, and I'm going to talk about that in the next video. But I think it's essential for you to understand the output of this command because there are times that you may not have access to a visual tool, or at least you may go to an interview and you may get asked, what is the output of this command? So you need to be able to explain it. So on the top, you can see that the diff utility was called with these arguments. So we're comparing a/file1.js with b/file1.js. So we're comparing two copies of the same file. The first copy is the old copy, which is what we have in the last commit. And the second copy, which is the newer copy, is what we currently have in the staging area. Okay. Now, below that, we have index, whatever. This is just some metadata. It doesn't really matter. After that, we have a legend. So changes in the old copy are indicated by a minus sign, and changes in the new copy are indicated by a plus sign. After that, we have this section. This is a header with some information about what parts of our file is changed. So currently our files are very short. They have only a few lines of text, but in the real world, your file might have hundreds of lines of code. If you change only a couple of lines, Git is not going to show the entire file. It's going to divide that file into chunks, and what we have here is just a single chunk. So every chunk has a header with some information that gives you context. So let's see what we have here. We have two segments. The first segment is prefixed with a minus sign. So this gives us information about the old copy, what we have in the last snapshot. The second segment is prefixed with a plus sign. So this contains information about the new copy, which is what we have in the staging area. So in the old copy, starting from line 1, 3 lines have been extracted and shown here. In the new copy, once again, starting from the first line, 5 lines have been extracted and shown here. So these are all these lines over here. Now you can see that these 2 lines are prefixed with a plus sign. So these are the lines that we have added in the new copy. So we have added these lines in the staging area. They're green, which means they're new lines. So pretty straightforward. Now after that, we have another call to the diff utility. This time we're comparing 2 copies of file 2. Now in this case, look at the legend. We don't have an old copy because this is an entirely new file. So in the last commit, we didn't have a file called file 2. That is why in this header, we have 0, 0, which means starting from line 0, 0 lines have been extracted because there is no old copy of this file, okay? Now, what if you want to see the changes in our working directory that are not staged yet? To do that, we run git diff without any arguments. So this compares what we have in the working directory with what we have in the staging area. Take a look. There's no output here because we have staged all the changes in our working directory. We can also verify this using our short status command. So all the changes in our working directory are now in the staging area. So for this demo, I'm going to make a change to file 1. So let's open it with VS Code or our favorite editor. So I'm going to change the first line to hello world. Save. Now, let's run another short status. So for file 1, we have some changes in our working directory that are not in the staging area. Let's look at these changes using the diff command. So git diff without any arguments. Take a look. So here we're comparing 2 copies of file 1. The old copy is what we currently have in the staging area, and the new copy is what we have in the working directory. Now take a look. In the old copy, which is indicated by a minus sign, we have this line, hello, which is removed because it's red. And in the new copy, which is what we have in the working directory, we have this new line, hello world. So to recap, if we run git diff without any arguments, we can see unstaged changes. And if we pass -- staged, we can see the state changes that are going to go in the next commit. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to use a visual tool to easily compare files.